Hey, what's going on, SWAC fans? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the SWAC podcast. And on this edition, we're going to be giving our final thoughts on the SWAC Championship game. The 2021 SWAC Championship is in the books, and man, wasn't it an exciting game. But the Alabama A&M Bulldogs did just enough to knock off the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions by a score of 40-33, and it was an exciting game, especially about the last 5 minutes of the game, man. But I'm about to go ahead and go through some stats. We're going to start with Arkansas Pine Bluff. We had Skylar Perry, wasn't his best showing. He was 23 of 36, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and you also had Taylor Holston. He had 1 pass for 5 yards and a touchdown. And you know, this was a game right here, man. It wasn't Skylar Perry's best game. Shouts out to Alabama A&M rising to the occasion, taking it, doing what they had to do to try to neutralize him, understanding that, this guy is indeed a playmaker and making sure that they make things uncomfortable for him. He never seemed like he was completely comfortable throughout the game. He had a couple plays which it wasn't a surprise to me because this guy is a gamer and a baller, and he's a scrappy guy. So didn't surprise me at all that he came through and he performed, to the best of his ability, especially down the stretch, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But we're going to talk about Quill Glass and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. He had another stellar performance, 24-45, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. Wasn't his best game either, but you have to measure guys like this in late game situations, in crucial situations. This is the type of games that you want a quarterback like Glass to be on your team. Couple plays, man. Long yardage, 3rd and 10. You know what I'm saying? Like where he had to go out there and make a play. One play in particular, was 3rd and 10. He had to scramble. He fought for some extra yards. He wasn't afraid to go out there and run and scramble, even to possibly almost take a hit to knock him completely out of the game. But this shows right here what type of heart he actually has, and it just continues to confirm to me that this guy is going to play on the next level. Also, Moore, his wide receiver, another stellar performance, 2 touchdowns, 111 yards, man, receiving. So he's definitely making a case as being one of the best receivers in the SWAC. There's a lot of good receivers across the board, but right now you have to say Moore is doing it at an extremely high level. But you got to give credit to Arkansas Pine Bluff, even though they were on the losing end of this game, even though they weren't, the winners of the SWAC championship game. They did exactly what we all knew they were going to do. Alabama A&M, they averaged about 40 points a game. They scored 40 points, but Arkansas Pine Bluff gave them everything and then some. This is a hard-nosed, lunch pail mentality type team, and they confirmed it. So these guys, they have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Going into the half, they had the lead, but we all know that Cornell Maynard and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, they are a team that makes second half adjustments, and they go out there and they execute. And you have to give credit to those young guys in the secondary, not giving up nothing cheap and not giving up nothing deep. In order for Pine Bluff to make some plays down the stretch, they really had to make some of those guys miss. But these guys really rose to the occasion. These guys really did what they needed to do in order to try to stop Arkansas Pine Bluff. But if you look at the fourth quarter, man, that's when the game started to heat up. You thought that Alabama A&M was going to do what they normally do. We thought that they were going to, go ahead and push a lead, and it was going to become so insurmountable that Arkansas Pine Bluff, who was struggling offensively, to really, get that rhythm going. You thought that Alabama A&M was going to pull away, especially, when they went up, by double-digit points late in the game in the fourth quarter. You probably thought to yourself, if you're Pine Bluff, you're like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys look like they're about to pull ahead. But the arrogance a little bit came back to haunt the Alabama A&M, and made the game much more interesting than what it had to be. You had a kicker on your team. I think in earlier in the season, he kicked like a 40-plus yard field goal. I understand it was 4th and 19. But at the same time, if you don't trust that, then go ahead and punt it or try to make a field goal at least, but they decided to go out there and throw the ball. Miscommunication. You give the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions the ball back. Skylar Perry drives the ball down the field and makes the game interesting, cut the lead within 7. And then, of course, they get the ball back. I have to say, Doc Gamble, you got to give this guy some credit, because I know a lot of coaches aren't going to do what he did in the last few minutes of the game. Everybody thought in the last 2 minutes they were going to kick an onside kick. He decides to kick the ball far out of the end zone. A lot of people were scratching their heads. They were wondering why he didn't go for an onside kick with one timeout left. But, that just shows you the type of trust that he has in his team, and he's living by his last name, which is Gamble, because he definitely gambled. He trusts his defense, and they got the stop. So credit to them. They were able to get the ball back. The Alabama A&M Bulldogs were playing prevent, so they were able to get some of those passes, right down the middle. They were playing the sidelines. So, Arkansas Pine Bluff, they got all the way down to the red zone. They just could not cash in. On 4th down, there was a play that I saw, man. Skylar Perry, he threw the ball into the end zone that ended up being intercepted. There was a play number 25, the running back of Arkansas Pine Bluff. The running back of Arkansas Pine Bluff, to me, I know he was in for pass protection, but to me, he could have easily just rolled out and Skylar Perry could have checked it down to him. He had a lot of green grass. He possibly could have caught the ball. I know he probably wouldn't have scored, but he could have caught the ball and ran out of bounds, and then you would have possibly got the first down, because you definitely would have got 10 yards on that play. And also, you probably, would have got out of bounds and be able to get a few more plays before the time expired. But they decided to go for broke. Skylar Perry threw the ball in the back of the end zone for the interception. I know he's probably going to be hurt, because the play before he had his wide receiver wide open. He just overthrew him. So I know that's a play that he's going to be thinking about in the back of his mind over and over and over and over again. And he's probably like, man, if I would have just put a little less on the ball, we probably could have tied the game. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, man. Sometimes the ball bounces your way and sometimes it doesn't. But the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, you have absolutely nothing to hang your head about. It was an incredible season, but you have to give credit to the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, who did an outstanding job in this game. Shouts out to Cornell Maynard. He's a guy that has a big personality, very charismatic, but he got this team to believe that they're one of the best teams in the SWAC. He was able to go out there and go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the SWAC. He was able to, go out there, go toe-to-toe, and be able to lip wrestle with one of the most charismatic individuals in Coach Prime Deion Sanders, and he lived up to it, man. Not only did he talk the talk, but he definitely walked the walk. And I think it was suffice at the end of the game when he was giving his post-game interview that he talked about Ric Flair. And Ric Flair has a saying, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And they beat everybody that came in front of them. And they did it in impressive fashion. And they did it all, not even playing not one single home game. So congratulations to the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They're bringing the championship back to Huntsville. And it's going to be a party out there, man. I know they're excited, man. First time they actually won since 2006. Last time they actually been to the SWAC Championship was in 2012. So enjoy it. You all deserve it. You all were the best team in the Southwestern Athletic Conference this season. And some people will be talking about Alcorn State. Look, Alcorn, no disrespect to y'all. And I guarantee you, I'm not saying this just because I went to your rival school, which is Jackson State University. You have absolutely no room to talk about this team. Okay, you had an opportunity to go out there and play. You decided not to. So you can't say, oh, man, I'm the champs. We're the champs. No, you're not. Alabama A&M are the champs, okay? You guys had an opportunity to go out there and defend your crown. You chose not to. And I understand why you didn't. I mean, COVID-19, it affected a lot of people. It affected all of us, right? And it was a tough decision if you wanted to play or not. But with that decision, I mean, you suspended the right to say that you were the champions because the person that came after you all, you gave them the opportunity. So you have a 2021 campaign in the fall. If you feel like you're the real champions, the linear champions, or whatever you want to call yourselves, then go out there and prove it, because there are a lot of teams that are re-upping, and you also have 2 new teams coming into the SWAC that definitely want to make sure that they make a name for themselves, and they're going to be looking at the Braves just like the Braves are looking at the Bulldogs. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the SWAC podcast. Be sure to check out the State of the SWAC podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, Facebook.com. Search the State of the SWAC podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I know my son that y'all heard in the background, I know he appreciates you all as well. And like always, all I got to say is, it's rough in the SWAC.